Okay, so I'm going to try to be quiet. Everybody's sleeping. I'm using about a third of a pound of bacon, about a third of a cup of green peppers, and a third of a cup of green onions, and we're going to put just a little bit of chicken stock in there. Just enough until it stops sizzling. Now we left the bacon grease in the pan. I'm going to put that back up to high heat. What we're making here is what I'm going to be teaching the scouts for their cast iron cooking is some pinto beans. Now to preempt everything, I pre-made the pinto beans. I made 2 pounds in a pot. I soaked them for about 24 hours, and every few hours rinse the beans and change the water. That gets all the nastiness out of them, right? Then what I did was I boiled them for with about 10 cups of water for 2 pounds, 6 to 8 cups for a pound, for 2 hours, and then I let them simmer, stirring every 15 minutes. Then I let them simmer on low heat for another 2 hours, about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Makes them nice and soft, so I want to be able to pick them up and give them a squeeze, right? So it's late at night before the cast iron cooking, and I would like to have some of these right now. So what I'm doing is I'm prepping all the food, and that's what you want to do. So you make your bacon chopped up nice and crispy. And I get a little steam on my lens. Nice and crispy. Separate that, make sure all the grease stays in the pan, so drain it back in if you pulled it out. You have your pre-cooked beans. These are actually still hot, but they can be cold because we're going to heat them back up. Chicken stock, third of a cup. Onions, third of a cup. Green peppers. It's probably too much for me because this is about 2 cups of pinto beans. Now we're just going to add those in there, and I put a little black pepper in there to my liking. Now I like my green peppers and onions a little bit crisp. I don't like them real soggy. And we're just gonna, and let's say I cooked the bacon until crispy. I cooked the green peppers and onions in here for about 5 minutes. And now I'm going to cook the beans for about 5 or 10 minutes until the broth thickens up a little bit. Now, what I do want while I'm here, I want that broth to almost cover the beans. Almost, because I don't want a soup. Yeah, just like that. See that? Then I'm going to add a bit of black pepper. You can add salt if you'd like. I use Himalayan salt. I don't care for regular salt. I think the only time I use iodized salt is when I'm adding like a teaspoon of salt when I'm boiling noodles so they don't stick. So we're going to keep cooking this on a nice high heat to get this thickened up. Now, what I tell everybody is, if you're going to be camping with, 4 or more people, make up a couple pounds of pinto beans. Like I said, give yourself a day to soak them, 24 hours. Keep rinsing them throughout the day. Make sure there's no nastiness. Get any of the floating beans out of there. And that's what I did. I separated out the ones that were floating because those are hollow husks. And boil in about 10 cups of water for 2 hours, constantly stirring every 15 minutes, and simmer for another 2 hours with the lid partially off, kind of like just enough to let the steam out like that. Okay. And what you want to do is drain those beans and put them in a bag, like a plastic bag or whatever, like a Ziploc bag, right? Take them with you. Your bacon, you want good, butcher shop style bacon, no nitrates. I don't like nitrates in my food whatsoever. I don't need that poison. Pre-cut your green peppers and onions. I'd say cut up probably about half a cup. I'm making a personal serving here. Half a cup green peppers, half a cup onions ought to do you. Get a nice big cast iron skillet. Cook your bacon up first. Get it crispy. Make sure it's all chopped up. You probably use half a pound of bacon or so, and then you have a half a pound left for breakfast. Get it all nice and crispy. Separate it. Drain the grease back in. Cook your onions and peppers for about 5 minutes or so. Then add a little bit of chicken stock. Let that heat up. Add the amount of beans that you need. Add a little more chicken stock, and you can see see it's not a broth anymore. It's thickening up here. All right. And then if you like salt or pepper, add a little bit of that. Not too much. Doesn't need a whole lot. You can add that after you're done. Because now what we're going to do is take our bacon and put it back in there. Since this is nice and thick. See, I didn't want my bacon to get all soggy. There we go. And to keep yourself from having too much camp cleanup, you know, the bowl I have my beans in and the plate that I have my bacon on, I can use those to serve some of this up. All right. So those are about done. Just like that. That chicken broth has rendered down. Get this off the fire. Just like that. This is a Pyrex plate. These are Pyrex plates. I have a ton of them. They can be put in the oven and everything, so don't worry about them being on the heat. I just gotta watch when I pick it up. And then serve up. And you could get some basil or coriander or whatever you like to dress that up and put it on top. I'm making this for myself, so I'm not really interested in dressing it up. But my kids and my wife will tell you I like for my food to not only taste good, but I like for it to look good. Let me get that off the heat because it'll start frying on that plate. Let me move this pan aside. Oh, and I will be back to finish that up. There we go. So you have some very healthy camp beans, some bacon, onion, green pepper, black pepper, salt to taste, and you're good to go. All that prep work you do before you go out there. That way you don't have to do all this work for lunchtime or dinner time when you're camping. All right, take care.